Welcome. Thank you for joining me for today's collective energy update. I'm going to be taking a look at the collective energy today and see what's going on with the energy surrounding us all. Anything that we need to know and anything that can help us on our journeys. I'm also going to tap into the high guides of the Neptune moon and see what they want to reveal to us today. But I do want to share a little story that happened to you. It's actually a riddle, so maybe you could help me solve the riddle. I had a dream on the 29th of November. They came to me and there was 3 people being tested. They were doing some work with our crown chakras, and I've had my crown chakra work. I've felt burning in my crown chakra all week. So I've had some either reaction or some activation or some feeling. Actually, top of my head's very hot. So I've had something going on with my crown chakra all week ever since that dream. But in that dream, they were doing something to our crown chakras, 3 people, and they said, okay, you need to solve this. You need to tap into this information. So it was the question, the riddle, the first part of the riddle was, if you were in an oven, what part of the world would you go? An oven as in what cooks food or cooks. So I'm trying to tap in to get the answer or the download. One of the clues that they gave to the riddle was that it's a song. So I'm starting to think of songs, and I thought of Fleetwood Mac, and I was trying to run through in my head in the dream Fleetwood Mac songs, and if any of them corresponded to an oven or this kind of riddle. So then they took us over, 3 people over to another area, and they wiped across our face with across the third eye with like a little white cloth. So almost like when you're cleaning a camera. So they were cleaning this, our third eyes, all 3 people sitting there. And a man came up to me and kissed me on the cheek. There was a Joe connection, somebody named Joe, and I don't know anybody named Joe. He said to me, okay, the next part of the riddle is the Violet Femmes. Now, I'm not familiar with the Violet Femmes. I think they're an 80s alternate punk group. So I've looked into them now. They used to sing Blister in the Sun. Interesting that it's talking about the sun too, by the way, when they're talking about an oven, which is hot, heating up. So that I found that to be very interesting. But he said something to do with the Violet Femmes. Violet Femmes was the message. So now when I looked them up, their second song they released was called Kiss Off, which I thought that was a clue as well when I got a kiss on the cheek, being that's just the second song, Kiss Off. So I thought that was very interesting. These are things that I had no clue about, and they were all starting to come together. So wiped across our face. Now the next clue, let me think. Okay, and then he took my phone and he texted a word in my phone, and I could read it very clearly, very, very clearly could read this word. So clearly that I woke up straight away and started Googling or searching Violet Femmes with this one word. And what came up in the results for that was the bass guitarist Brian Ritchie moved to Tasmania, Australia. Now, Tasmania is closest to the Antarctic where it's cold. Moved to Tasmania from the US, and he set up some kind of cover band or something, and that's what they were talking. And he also worked in a museum which had a similar name to the word that they came out. Now, I cannot remember what the word was now, but it was very clearly, I read it very clearly, and it was enough to bring up that information in the search history for me. But now I can't find it, and I've gone through and I've searched my history. I can't find it anywhere, any record of ever searching anything about it. Does have the violet femmes that I just searched, just them, but nothing on the 30th. No search history recorded for the 30th about anything related to that dream that I had. And I know that I searched it, because how else would I have got that information? I didn't know their song, I didn't know their bass player name, I didn't know that he moved to Tasmania, so I definitely searched it, but that history is gone. It's not the only strange thing that's happened with my search history, or my daughter's phone number got deleted, somehow was deleted from my phone yesterday or the day before. I've had emails that I know I've sent completely disappear. I can't find them. So I don't know who's playing funny buggers with me, what's going on there. But yeah, very strange. But all my other search history is there on the phone, but not the name of the word that I got from this dream. So I found that, yeah, very interesting. So if you can piece that riddle together, it's one riddle. If you're in an oven, where in the world would you go? I'm thinking Tasmania. But was there something more? Why would why would they say violent femmes? Like, if you know anything about that, or if you think you can solve that riddle, please do put a comment down there for me, because I've been racking my brain for days now trying to work out why they came through with that information, and why it all all added up to things that I didn't know, and I could so clearly read it in that dream. So let's get on to actually, let's just pull a card on that. I've already, thoughts matter. So that's me thinking, my thinking brain, that's it. And riddles are mental. And I have been Neptune moon, which is what we're using to do these readings. So I have been racking my brain, trying to figure out why they came through with that riddle. So if you could just tell me, why did you come through with that riddle? Okay, this says sacred gratitude, invisible force. Okay, what does it mean? Tell me what the riddle means. Okay, beyond comprehension. I know that. I'm trying to comprehend what it means. Can you tell me what it means, please? What was that riddle? What does it mean? Time jumped out. Again, the word sacred again. See, sacred gratitude, sacred geometry, sacred. What's sacred? Changing times, and the dream had good intentions about the changing times. Interesting. Okay, so let's do a collective reading now, and then we'll check in with the Neptune. Now, I've already done my connections, and I've had my high guide come out of here already, as I had my eyes closed and I was shuffling and doing my connections. The high guide card came out, so that was before I pressed record. So let's do a collective reading now. I'm going to get that set up and see what it is they want us to know about what is going on in the collective energy. Here is your collective energy update for this week. First of all, we have the cosmic law. This is all about balancing the energy in the collective at the moment. So this week begins with a reminder that the universe is always seeking equilibrium. Cosmic law asks us to honor both the seen and the unseen forces, to recognize that every action ripples outwards. It's kind of like that balance is almost like a ripple between polarities, or like the up and down energy of the wave. Next, we have elevation. As balance is restored, The collective is lifted. Elevation is raising your energy and your vibration. Elevation signals that we are rising into higher frequencies or being asked to rise into higher frequencies, shedding density or heaviness, and aligning with expanded awareness. We have the temporal nexus. This is the gateway to this ascension process. And it's saying that it's not in the past or not in the future. It is in the present, which means being present, since it's sitting on top of the bull, which is all about being present in your own space. The temporal nexus card anchors us into the present moment, reminding us that the eternal now is where transformation unfolds. So this week, being present is the power and the aim this week. Being present also allows us to step into our senses, our physical body senses. These two cards represent the physical body. This card here is asking us to be present in the moment and pay attention to our senses. This one is asking us to expand and elevate our senses, our awareness beyond our physical body. So this week we are practicing grounding, balance, and expanded awareness of our senses. We have the open your eyes. This is asking us to do a cleanse today or this week of our third eye lens. Asking your guides to help you have more clarity with your clairvoyant sense. So with this presence comes revelation, or the ability to see what is. It's an awakening. This is where the illusions dissolve, the veils lift, and truth becomes visible. What is hidden will be revealed. Then we have the building blocks. It talks of our physical body. So this awakening or elevation is not just taking place with our physical senses, it's also taking place with our ethereal senses. Awakening is not only spiritual, it must be embodied. Building blocks call us to tend to the physical vessel, to integrate higher energies through movement, nourishment, and rest. The body is the architecture through which ascension stabilizes the energy. So this is also grounding and stabilizing the last up momentum on the wave. Primal energy is apis. It is all about grounding and stabilizing. So as frequencies rise, grounding becomes essential. Primal energy reminds us to root into the earth, to stabilize the surge of cosmic currents that has been hitting us with the X-class flares. So this week, grounding practices, breath rituals, connection to the nature are the anchors that will prevent overwhelm or anxiety energy. We have the destined path. Through balance, ascension, presence, awakening, embodiment, and grounding. The collective steps into its destined path. This card affirms that what unfolds now is not random. It is aligned with soul contracts and higher design. The freedom from bondage. Finally, the week culminates in liberation, a sense of freedom. The bondage signals release from old patterns, karmic loops, or limiting beliefs. as the collective moves forward, lighter, sovereign, and free. So this week is a journey from balance to liberation. Balance sets the stage. Ascension raises our vibration. Presence anchors us. Awakening opens our vision. Embodiment grounds the light in the body. Primal grounding stabilizes the surge. Destin guides our path. And freedom seals the cycle. It's a spiral of integration, cosmic law weaving through the body, awakening consciousness, and freeing the collective into a destined trajectory. Now, in last week's message, I was talking about the solfeggio frequencies, and I thought, I wonder if some kind of music that is already pre-done with the solfeggio frequency already in it. Little did I know, the musician that I really like listening to, I've purchased all of their tracks. They're called Renegade Activations, and they do music, very, very talented, and he checks the frequency of all the sounds within the music, and he has YouTube and TikTok accounts where he's showing you how he's doing that. Now, I have had the best meditations using that music, those sounds, and really, and I listen to it before I read. Every time before I read, it helps me to balance, but I think it also helps me to raise. Now, I typed in music with solfeggio, and his video came up, and he was showing how he's got a track called Atlantis, and he was showing how each one of the solfeggio frequencies is within this track. And I'm been thinking, how do I get hold of a track, some kind of music that has the frequencies in it? And meanwhile, I am so connected to that soundtrack that I purchased, and I purchased all of their soundtracks, and it's already in there. So I was really happy to hear that, because I subconsciously just kind of was drawn to that music that I needed at the time. So that was really interesting to know. So moving on from that, let's see what the next stage is that our Neptune moon guide would like us to move on to or talk about today. I know you can't see me shuffling because I'm just not next to my... Okay, that was a flipped one. Okay, so I was kind of wanting to talk about resetting invisible energy, or invisible force, which is energy around us, the ethereal energy. That is the fifth element. What is the reset, please? What are you talking about with a reset? Okay, so on one hand, we've got cleansing, purifying energy around us, and then being able to activate or harness energy. So we need to cleanse negative energy around us. So that's what they're wanting us to focus on, to help elevate our energy. So they're talking about, again, I've got that heating up activation. So they're talking about activation energy, and they're talking about like a whirlwind energy in the collective. Earth Guardian. So it's tapping into Earth energy, and that's what they're talking about, the grounding. It's really important to do some grounding this week. Okay, what can you tell us? Let's pull the cards again. What's going on with this reset? What does a reset mean? What does it actually mean? Okay, so it is a eternal cycle. So it's a cycle, and so is the energy we figured out last week. The energy that comes in and goes and high, and I definitely feel it. So I was on for 2 weeks, I was on high energy. This week I've kind of come back down again. So it is definitely like a cycle, and I wonder what that cycle is connected to. Is it time? I'll take a look at I believe we have another X-class flare coming. Okay, back to the beginning. So we're going back to the beginning. A reset is going back to the beginning. Resetting back to the reincarnation cycle or back to the beginning of the cycle is a reset. That makes sense. So a reset is going back to a different stage in the cycle. So when you have like your computer, you can set it to go back at a certain stage of your computer if your computer's having issues, and I'm not sure what that's called, but that's what I'm getting. It's like they can reset us back to a certain stage of the program prior to glitching. Reset. Who does the reset? Self. So you can reset yourself within bounds. So within bounds, you can reset your cause and effect. Okay, why would you want to do that? We've got the sacred gratitude again. Okay, and I just saw cycle again on the bottom of the deck there, a cycle return. So return to a certain point. Okay, so where I've had the experience of being on this high energy and then I've gone back down the cycle, how can I reset that back up? How can I reset that back up? Okay, so I've got the renewal emergence, and what I'm picking up out of that renewal emergence card is that it's like, okay, so you go on this high frequency, this high energy. You can't keep pushing higher and higher. You have to either stabilize or activate that energy, or renew it. So renew that energy, stabilize that energy before you renew the next cycle again. Now they are saying it's all ethereal energy, and it's a quiet pause within the cycle before you start moving again. So it's a moment to pause the cycle, to activate or stabilize is the better word, stabilize, and that's the grounding that they're saying. So where they're talking about the bull energy, where they said you must ground, it's actually stabilize. You have to stabilize and anchor in that energy, that frequency, before you then reset the cycle to go back up again. Okay, is that reset of the cycle to go back up again, is that a collective thing or is that done on an individual basis? That's done through thoughts. It's done through your mental state. Sovereign is your own, is individual. So individual sovereignty. It's part of the journey coming up. Boundaries, they're telling me boundaries, seeking new information. Now, Akashic record, that is the keeper of information. This is we're in a state of stabilizing the energy before the quest for further knowledge through the Akashic. So is there anything that we need to do to build ourselves up to work in the Akashic or to work with Akashic records? Energetic shifts. Okay, and then I've got a card about cloaking or confusion. Cloaking or confusion. So an energetic shift, attuning to subtle fields. To read the Akashic record, you have to be attuned to subtle fields. Now, is that done through the same way that you showed me for raising vibration and tapping into the collective source energy? Is Akashic records done the same way? Okay, path. 2 path cards. They were looking for the answer and then 2 path cards fell out. So path is the word, but is it the same path or a different path? Same path or different path? Source, source, collective source, the mind of the source field, we'll call it source field. Is that the same as Akashic records, please? Telling me it's a little bit different. It's stored information because you can store information on DNA. So it's stored information, having to return to roots, present in the present. So they are telling me that it's different because I keep saying over and over again, different. So the seeking knowledge from the Akashic records is the next stage or evolution, but it's done in a slightly different way than tapping into source field. It's all about where information is stored, which source field is the same. Information is stored. Forward to delving into Akashic record. And for what reason would you do that? What reason would you delve into Akashic records? Again, sacred. Quietening your mind. You want to be looking at your pre-written soul script. Your destined path. Same again. Maybe even freedom from bondage when it comes to Akashic or your destined path, and having to be brave and face fears. Uranus, we have radical shifts and disruption. Interesting. So thank you for joining me for today's collective energy update. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you again next week.